I recently finished playing the Saboteur on the Xbox 360. I was really excited to start playing this game because I had heard that it's a really interesting hidden gem, sort of, on the Xbox 360 and PS3. It's developed by Pandemic Studios, who were in charge of the original Star Wars Battlefront games, so that got me even more excited because I haven't really played a whole lot of their other games, but I really enjoyed those Battlefront games. And to top it all off, this is an open-world World War II shooter set in Nazi-occupied Paris. For the most part, I really enjoyed my time in this game. It is not a perfect game. It actually has a lot of issues that I'll get into, but if you're looking for an interesting open-world game set in a not so typical open world setting, then I definitely say keep this on your radar. Anyway, getting into the gameplay, as I had said, it's an open world third-person shooter game set in a Nazi-occupied Paris. There's a whole lot of stuff to do. You can follow the story and do various missions as a saboteur. You're doing a lot of blowing up different Nazi tanks, propaganda towers, like refueling depots, that sort of thing. But you can also partake in a number of side quests and also racing. A lot of the side quests may have you targeting certain important Nazi officers or breaking somebody out of a internment camp. The gameplay is definitely going for that sort of GTA kind of vibe. There's all these different cars that you can collect and drive around. You're free to explore the entire open world. And they also take elements of Assassin's Creed in that your character can climb up on basically any building. It's not as smooth as Assassin's Creed, I will say. It's actually very janky and stiff climbing, but for the most part it's serviceable and it adds a nice layer to the exploration in the city that I did enjoy quite a bit. The shooting is pretty fun. There's a whole bunch of different weapons you can use, from bolt action rifles, machine guns, shotguns, rocket launchers, pistols, that sort of thing. And there's also some light RPG elements, I'll say. Very, very light. There's different skills that you can get different abilities, basically, and different rewards for completing set challenges. So like one will be headshot 5 enemies with a scoped rifle and you'll get less gun sway when you're using scoped rifles. Stuff like that. So it adds a little bit more depth to a game that may seem pretty basic on first viewing. The other big identifying feature of the Saboteur is this interesting art style it has, where everything is in black and white save for some very stark colors like the red of the Nazi uniforms and the flags. And the more missions you do, eventually you will restore color to different areas of Paris. It's supposed to be like inspiring the people to fight back. That's really cool. I really like that. It's an interesting sort of concept that not a whole lot of games really tackle, or if they do, I haven't seen many recently that do that. And I definitely think that is one of the absolute coolest aspects about the Saboteur. As I had said, it's a little buggy. Actually, it's pretty buggy, I'll just say that. There was one moment where I had completely fallen through a building and got stuck inside the walls and had to kill myself to get out. There's Nazi officers getting stuck in the ground, just phasing through things. The collision is really weird sometimes. You can get yourself stuck in spots that you weren't really meaning to, and then like if you're driving a car and you get stuck, you won't be able to get yourself out easy. And it's just stuff like that that is really just kind of... This game has a nice layer of jank mixed in with all the good stuff. Also, one of the things that I really didn't like about it was the writing. This game does something that I've noticed in a couple of different games, where basically everybody just acts angry to each other all the time. And I get that the sort of sensation of this world is that the Nazis have just invaded Paris, so everybody's on edge. But it's like your character is just constantly like shit-talking people, and then they're shit-talking you back. And then eventually you come to a common goal that something needs to be done, you go do it, and then you're just back to shitting on each other again.
Unity to strike a blow that will shake the very foundations as the Third Reich.
The crowd brass will be heavily guarded. You'll never get close to them.
You're right, Sean. We can't get close, but you can.
What the fuck are you talking about?
And while I can find that funny sometimes, other times when you're going for 10 hours of people just constantly talking the same tone of voice to each other, which is, oh, you're not going to do this? Well, you're dumb. You're a dumb Irishman. It's like, okay, I get it. Like, I would like a little bit of change here and there. The other thing that's weird about the tone in this game is that it's just basically a mix of war stuff and sex. And while that's not, again, that's not a bad thing, it kind of is in this instance because it just has a weird tone. Like, I can't nail down what the tone they were going for with this is. A lot of the sex stuff makes it seem like it's a more goofy game, but then all of the stuff where you're actually liberating pairs and stuff is sort of serious. So it's this weird, goofy, serious combo that I don't think works really well for the game. I think they should have chose one or the other, a more serious story or a more goofy Inglourious Basterd style story. Mixing the two together just makes it feel confused, and they didn't really know how they wanted the overall tone to feel for players. But yeah, overall, those were my basic thoughts on the Saboteur. I think it's a really interesting game. It's fun to explore the city. The gameplay is serviceable. It's not an amazing game, but it's not a bad game. And I definitely do think it's underrated, or at least under-talked about. Again, I haven't heard a lot of people talking about the Saboteur, and it's definitely a really cool game that mixes a lot of different gameplay mechanics from other popular games that came out around the time of its release. So yeah, keep an eye out on the Saboteur if you're looking for a new open world game to dive into.